I'm not immune, and I'm one of the best in the world, and I am not immune to it. And I think that should be a stark warning for a lot of people.
What's the cost though? What's the cost of the life, in your view, of living this kind of life where, we go home and we just like burn our brains out with these social media apps and fry our dopamine receptors? Is there like a cost?
Yeah, I think the cost is increased loneliness. And these apps, any app that sells ads has two main goals. Number one, and all advertising shares these two main goals. Number one, make you compare yourself to other people in unhealthy ways. Number two, make you think, I am not enough. And we see that everywhere. I'm not enough. And I'm comparing myself to other people. And it gets us into an us versus them. Then it traps you into a corner of confirmation bias. Whatever you think, I'm going to show you this group of 150 people that agree with you, no matter how stupid, how radical, how absolutely bizarre your ideas are. Let me show you all of these people. And then you start thinking the whole world's like that. So, really quickly, what happens when we conglomerate people together? Like, I'm I've only been in New York once in my life, but we're in New York right now. Looking at my hotel, I was like struggling to find a piece of nature.
Hmm.
Like, I think I have more trees on my property than there are in the whole city here. So, on the whole, when you squeeze people together, have you heard of the bystander effect?
I have heard of it, but please.
So there's a very good experiment that was led by Dr. Philip Zimbardo that they did at Liverpool Street Station
Oh, in
in
London.
in London. Yeah.
Okay.
So right at Liverpool Street, there's a video on YouTube, and it's fair use if you want to overlay like an image of what this looks like. But at Liverpool Street Station, there's 3 or 4 steps to get up to the main. So from the street, there's a curb, and then there's 3 or 4 steps. They had this woman laid out on the ground wearing like a normal skirt and top, and I think 395 people either walked by her or stepped over her. And then they did it with a guy. And then they did it with a guy. He's holding a beer and he's asking for help. And it changed all these variables. But it's happened in New York City before. There's a woman named Kitty Genovese in the 60s, I think just 2 blocks from here, who was stabbed to death in front of like 55 witnesses. Don't quote me on that number. And no one called the police until much, much later, mostly because everyone thought somebody else would act. But if I describe to you saying, I watched a person get stabbed and 3 people just watched and they watched it happen, would you say that that's psychopathy? That's a psychopath.
Yeah.
So these large cities and stuff, and the apps that are messing with the social part of our brain that makes us think the tribe is way bigger than our brains are made to handle, causes this almost psychopathic behavior, which the bystander effect has been proven hundreds of times as an experiment.
Is that because if I'm logging onto social media, I'm becoming desensitized to this kind of thing? But also, if you live in London, you get quite accustomed to seeing someone that is homeless. And so, in that case of seeing someone rolling on the floor at Liverpool Street Station, you might have seen it before. And it might have just been someone who was homeless or struggling with something,
Yeah,
some kind of addiction or something.
yeah.
So you've become somewhat desensitized to it. Is that?
So you are getting desensitized to it, but your brain is made to hold small tribes of a couple hundred people.
Mhm.
And the moment that tribe expands into something your brain can't imagine, you are no longer relying on reputation from anyone. You don't care what other people are thinking about you. And the moment that stops, your brain says, I don't have the capacity to worry about everyone that I see. So empathy disappears. Like, you walk down these streets here in New York, their empathy is zero for you, no matter what's happening. You walk through a country town, it's like 1,500 people. The population of the town I live in is 2,200. And if you get cut on the arm or like you stumbled, 4 cars will stop. People get out of their cars to figure out what's going on because our brains can handle smaller tribes. And the moment we get flooded with all of these things, all of these people that we can't possibly care about everybody, empathy disappears. The second aspect of this is If we're surrounded by environments that our ancestors would be absolutely scared of and confused by, we start developing problems in our brain, depression, loneliness, suicide through the roof in large cities every time. There's no exception. And I think the same thing happens when we put stuff our cells, our ancestor cells don't recognize. You had the glucose queen on here recently talking about some of this. We're putting unnatural stuff into our bodies. You had a toxicologist on here, I think, talking about this too. That goes into our bodies. Our ancestors don't know what that is, and our bodies can't process it. It turns into disease. It turns into mental disease when our bodies can't process everything that's going on around us. So, in my theory, and this is just my theory, the further we're separated from nature, we find disease, mental and physical.
Amen. We have a closing tradition on this podcast where the last guest leaves a question for the next guest, not knowing who they're going to be leaving it for. The question left for you is, how can we consistently feel and appreciate the blessings in our lives?